Hello and happy Friday evening here in beautiful Southern California. One of the great things about where I live is the climate, and it's October, whatever it is, 4th or 5th, and I get to walk around just with a bathing suit walking on the beach. It's just beautiful. Other places in the world it's starting to get kind of cold. So gotta enjoy the little things in life. Anyway, I got sidetracked. So today I want to talk to you about immortality. I want to talk to you about spiritual immortality and the quest for physical immortality. I want to talk to you about becoming an immortal. These are all the same but slightly different things as well. So, an immortal in Taoist understanding. So understand that each spirituality has maybe a different take on it or a different word, but trying to convey the same thing. And what I really want to get at is the emotional desires we have to so excuse me while I accoutrement. In looks like must be a lot of people on. There seems to be some. Anyway, keep an eye out. Hopefully this will keep broadcasting. So Taoism teaches a type of enlightenment. So they understand that Taoism is the Chinese indigenous spirit. So I don't know if I'm going to be. I'm seeing this thing flash on and on. Well, will this thing get itself fixed? There it goes. Now it says it's fixed. I hope it'll stay. It's having a hard time, boy. Must be a lot of people on it. Okay, so Taoism, the indigenous spiritual traditions of China. In Taoism, they don't talk about moksha. They don't talk about enlightenment. They don't talk about what's the word? One of the words that Buddhism uses, nirvana. What they do talk about is becoming a perfected immortal, which is another way of saying becoming a god. And so they do lots of energy work, Qigong, meditation, Gong, which is internal work. They work a lot to take energy into all of the organs of the body and to rejuvenate them and keep them balanced. They work with all of the little caverns in the brain. According to Taoism, there's a bunch of little rooms, a bunch of little temples in your brain. And when you can bring all of the deities down to sit in the little temples in your brain, then you will achieve all kinds of things. And then there's the central cavity where the three ones, the main trinity of the universe, sit, and the three ones of the body, they sit in there and they converse. So when you can get to the place where you have enough life force energy in the right places, then you will transform and become a perfected immortal. You'll become a god, basically. And in the East Indian tradition, people practice yoga and they open up the chakras. They stimulate kundalini. Oh, I see we've gotten red again. Boy, I really hope this gets itself together. It's green now. We'll see. So kundalini is not the same as chi or prana. A lot of people think kundalini and chi are the same thing. They're not. They are interconnected and they stimulate each other, but they're not the same thing. And so for the East Indians, achieving moksha or liberation can mean freedom from reincarnation, but it also lots of times has to do with opening the chakras and getting kundalini to rise. Now, kundalini is the psychological, spiritual identity of the person. It's really where you merge the soul with the physical personality, and when the physical personality realizes and looks to the soul and becomes infinite, then that is really what Kundalini is all about. But they do things too. They do yoga and breath and meditation to get that going. And then you've got Buddhism that talks about reaching nirvana or liberation or enlightenment. And so again, I'm stopping because it's making a bunch of colors. All right, it's still going. So enlightenment, in the modern sense, has been interpreted as meaning reaching a place where you have no problems and everything is peaceful. And I'm going to attack that, as I always do. I have nothing against being at peace and not having drama in your life and being at a place of being fulfilled and not being attached. I'm all for all of that. Unfortunately, in my experience, I would say the majority of people who talk about it, who seek after it, are seeking to escape their pain. And your pain is a result of your karma. It is a result of your weird. It is a result of what you have created, and you cannot escape what you have created. If you have created lessons and turmoil, you will have to face them. And wanting to escape your pain and your drama is just denial. So I'm here to say that if you are willing to face and accept, your issues and your weird, your karma, then you can get into a place of peace. But you can't do it by escaping. You can only do it by going through it. So there's a couple of different ways. First I'll talk about this, and then I'll talk about what I really want to talk about. There's a couple of different ways that you can achieve this immortality, because that's really what we're looking for. People don't want to die, number one. They don't want to physically die, and they especially don't want to spiritually die. I can attest to this. My whole life I've always had a comfortable belief in the afterlife. As a kid, I had funny. Are we off or are we on? Are we going to get back on? Come on, you can do it. There it goes. All right, so as a kid, I had crazy supernatural experiences, and so I never had a problem believing in the afterlife. In fact, I remember being 4 years old, and I remember, what I was looking at doesn't mean anything, but it's where I was. I was in the driveway of our house, and I was looking, just staring off into the, down the driveway, and I thought to myself, I'm going to live forever. And I didn't mean that I was going to physically live. I wasn't thinking about my physical body at all. I was thinking about my essence, the consciousness. I was aware at that moment that I was conscious. And I had the feeling, the truth, that I'm going to be conscious forever. That it's impossible for this consciousness to cease to exist. And I think I even thought, even if my body dies, my consciousness will continue to exist. I've since shared that. I remember sharing that with my first wife, and she says, "You realize that normal people don't think like that, right?" And I said, "Other people don't think like that when they're 4 years old?" So she said, "No, that normal people don't think like that." But in any case, I haven't had a problem with that, except when, and I didn't even have a problem with that when people in my life died. Like when my father died and when other people I knew died, or hearing about, I had a very good friend when I was a kid, and she passed away. She got in a car accident. I think I worried about where her soul was, but I never worried about whether or not she existed. But when I lost my soulmate, when I lost her to breast cancer, I became afraid for the soul. I became afraid for my own soul. Because is my consciousness going to die? And the thought of her consciousness just was a horrific thought, and it had never impacted me. One of the things I got from that experience, the reality, when somebody's that interconnected with you, a part of you dies, and You know, if you've ever gone through something like that, like if you ever see somebody who goes through the loss of a, you know, like a loved one or a spouse or like a soulmate, they are going to, you know, for a month. I was really kind of just incapable of doing anything. You know, I cried and all that, but I didn't really hit grief. I was still in shock, but my whole body, I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move. I just didn't have any strength in my body, and it you know, kind of worried me. I thought I was dying. Part of me was dying. You know, a big part of me was dying. So if you ever go through that, or you know somebody who goes through that, just give them a month. You know, let them just be listless for a month. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It just means that, you know, their brain, you know, the brain is trying to process something it can't process. And you know, the spirit is going through whatever it's going through. And you know, I felt fatigue all the way down into my bones. My bones were fatigued. Like not just tired, but you know the word fatigue, like, oh, it's just so, you know, I felt like I had just been, you know, injected with a bunch of chemo. I just couldn't move. And so anyway, I'm going off topic again. What I got from that, you know, now it's almost to the day a year later. And what I got from that is that I will die. I will, my physical body will stop functioning. That is not something that I have any choice over. I suppose maybe if chose to become a physical immortal, I could do that. But to be honest with you, I don't know that I have that. You know, to do that, what I've heard, what you need to do to be able to do that, I don't know that I have the ability, the discipline to do that. And part of the reason is because I love life too much. I love this life. And I want to live it. You know, I did live like a monk and do some really intense spiritual practice, which will, you know, I'll talk about later, the method of holding the three ones and becoming an immortal. And I learned a method of how to do that, one technique of many to do that. And I was practicing that for, you know, years and years and years. I was celibate for 6.5 years, in my 20s, no less. And you know, it was very hard to function in society. You know, there's a reason why people go off into the mountains in China and practice this stuff. You know, because they need to be constantly connected to pure nature and pure energy, because the energy that it takes to be with people, you know, they don't want to waste any of their energy. And so that's one method. You can become a physical immortal, but I seriously doubt you will find that in books or on the internet. Look as though your life depends on it if you want. I did. I was lucky enough that I had teachers who were connected to a tradition that had that, and I learned a lot of really powerful things. That's one method. Another method is to achieve liberation, moksha, enlightenment, as a result of meditation, Kundalini yoga, things like that, which will change your awareness, and then you can, you know, become, when you die, you won't have to come back. You won't have to be reincarnated. The third way, which is the most popular way, which is what most of us probably will end up doing, is that you have many, many lifetimes. And what I'm here to share with you is that in those many, many lifetimes, at some point you get to the realization. Sorry, I'm watching the thing blink yellow and red. Hang on a sec. I don't know if you can hear me. There, it's yellow. Now it's green. So what I'm here to share with you is that to become, the last way is to live many, many lifetimes, be reincarnated many, many times. And as a result of that, you fulfill all of your desires. You know, when you hear people talk about, you know, making mistakes and learning from your mistakes, the mistakes are not being a bad person. All of your mistakes that you reincarnate to learn those lessons are all connected to, either directly or indirectly, to you achieving all of your desires. It just so happens that, murdering people or stealing from people or betraying people are ways that you cannot fulfill your desires. They're mistakes you make trying to fulfill your desires. And so you come back not because you're being punished because you killed somebody or did something like that. You come back because you realize that's not going to get me fulfillment. And when you learn how to completely fulfill yourself, then you won't have to come back. And it's not so much that you won't have to come back, you won't want to come back. It's always about want. Desire rules the universe. If there is one thing to worship, it is desire. And this is, if you read about this in the Upanishads, I believe, in the Vedic tradition, you will hear that the goddess is supreme. Even Shiva worships the goddess. Now, she sits at his feet and he teaches her about herself, which means the universe. And but sorry, I got lost in that fantasy. I was imagining being Shiva there for a moment. I got kind of lost in it. But she worships him for his knowledge of herself. Like you remember watching, like as a kid, at least I remember, the cartoons. And, the man looks at the woman or whatever. The rabbit looks at the other rabbit and says, "Your eyes are like limpid pools of," and then she goes, "Talk to me about my eyes again. Tell me about my eyes." That is a spiritual truth. That, guys, if you're listening, guys, women want to be known and understood. When they feel like you see them, that you feel them, they will fall in love with you. Ladies, men want to be admired and respected, and they want you to reflect back to them their highest identity. But you do it as though that's the way that they are. You don't say, and this is, by the way, what happens, just to go off on a tangent here, when men complain about women nagging them and criticizing them, what those men don't understand is that that woman is trying to point the man to his highest essence. But whenever it's, nobody likes to be criticized. When it's presented in, what you should do, or anything like that, it's missing, or anything like that, then, it never lands well. But when she sees him in his highest essence and reflects that back to him with honor and love and respect and adoration, then he falls in love with her. And you see, we're both falling in love with our own ideal projection. So projection never stops. Love is always a projection, by the way. Whenever you fall in love with somebody, you're falling in love with yourself, falling in love with your own projection of yourself. For the man, it's that he's falling in love with his highest destiny. And this is what she's doing, is that she's empowering him to achieve his highest destiny. He is reflecting back to her beauty, we talk about the mystery of woman and the wonderful mystery that is woman. He's reflecting that back to her, as in your eyes, I see in your eyes the universe. Your eyes are so beautiful. And, when we get past the physical objectification and he can make her feel like talking about her beauty, he's talking about her essence, her beauty, then she feels like he sees her, and then she will love him. But it's all projection, all of it. It's all narcissistic projection. Here's the thing that we need to understand about physical life. Physical life is an illusion. It is a game. It is not the ultimate truth. But we chose to be here. But what we want to do is to create the illusion that reflects the ultimate truth. And when we can do that, we achieve our greatest desires. We achieve our highest essence. And then if we have enough of those experiences put together, and then if we can learn to live in that state, then you will have achieved it. So I teach all kinds of different methods to accomplish this. One of them is what I'm doing now, which is to talk to you now and help, my words hopefully will get in and help you release the nonsense. Release, first and foremost, the victim mentality. And get in touch with your pain. If you have pain, get in touch with it. I'm ruthless with my students. If they start to go into the reflex mode that they've been taught by the world and probably their parents and their pastors and whoever, if they go into that reflex of, but I can see that things are good and I'm positive, I will stop and I'll say, I have to stop you for a moment. You don't have to pretend with me. Have your feelings, because that's the quickest way to create more lifetimes. If you want to avoid more lifetimes, stop pretending that you're not in pain when you are. And that's a fine line, learning to have all your feelings without indulging in being a victim. Being a victim is not facing your pain and experiencing it. It's trying to hide behind it. So now we just went red again. I don't know if you can still hear me. It says I'm not transmitting, so and here it goes back green again. Must be a lot of people on tonight. So the one method is to live as many lifetimes as it takes for you to understand that there is a place of nirvana. If you want to call it enlightenment, there is a place of enlightenment that has nothing to do with being in the body or out of the body. It is not a state of mind. I hate that phrase. It is a state of being. And it's a state of being where you are conscious that this moment is eternity. And to waste this moment in indulging in fear or anything connected with not trusting the universe, which includes denial of your feelings. One way, as I started to talk, I could feel that there's people who want to go into the, yes, I only focus on the positive, and that's not it. That is a way to stay in the nonsense. You have so much trust in the universe that you are not afraid to have all of your pain. There are some cultures that when somebody dies, they will mourn for 40 days. The whole village will mourn and cry for 40 days. Try doing that here. Try doing that here in this society. After a little while, people will start telling you why it has to be okay. I remember when Lisa passed away, her friends had a memorial service like the next day or 2 days afterwards. And I went down, and of course I was, broken up. And there was a woman there who, if I started to talk and I would, start to, my voice would crack and I'd start to cry, or somebody else would start to cry, she would say, look where we are. Look at the beautiful ocean. Look, she couldn't tolerate people being sad. She couldn't handle it. And I didn't have the space within me, but I wanted to just. All right, so I went red again, which means, there we go. It started up, red again. Green. Okay, so anyway, so that's one way. Here's the other way. And this is something I'm going to be rolling out here very soon. And it's going to be, I don't know what, where's the picture? Do I have the picture here? The picture that I use to represent it is this: to become a perfected immortal, to end, to become an ascended master, to end a reincarnation, and I use this picture. So whenever you see this picture, and this is going to be something I'm going to be rolling out very soon. I'm working on it right now. And you see in that photograph, we have a being, looks like a human being, and it is orbiting the Earth, and it is holding a representation of the thought form it has of the Earth. And you can see that all three of the centers are lit up in this person. This is what I'm going to be teaching us how to do, and it's important we get the whole picture. I'm so glad I found that piece of art online. I don't know who made it, but whether they realize it or not, they encapsulated in one picture what it means to become immortal, to become a perfected immortal, to achieve enlightenment, to become an ascended master. These are all words for the same thing, because this is your destiny. You know, the picture I put up here is, clickbait. Your destiny is not to sit on a park bench and look at clouds. That's the Christian representation. And bear in mind that Christianity was created and formed and prospered during the worst time in human history. The worst time in human history was during the Middle Ages. And the Middle Ages came about right at the apex of what we call Kali Yuga, which is the dark age. And it's the dark age because the Earth at that point was the farthest away from the universal center, the galactic center, I don't remember which. And once we hit the Middle Ages, we hit the apex. And that's why life was horrible. That's why people saw religion as an escape. That's why Jesus was there to save you, because life was hard. People lived in squalor. People literally lived in their own excrement. They used their own excrement to fertilize the vegetables. That's why, in Middle Ages, you always see them with these bowls and they're eating slop, because they have to take the vegetables, which is covered in their own excrement, and then they have to boil it. And that's the only way, otherwise they'll make themselves sick. So they're always eating this slop, because that's how they have to prepare it in order to, to eat. And why, you had the people in the castles, and then you had the serfs. Not the serfs, but the SERFs, the serfs, who lived, just from day to day, just, life was just, constant toil. And that's what religion was. They wanted to be saved. And so for them, because life was so hard and they worked so hard all the time, the thought of sitting on a park bench on a cloud, that's heaven. That is not immortality. Immortality is a state of being, whether you are in or out of the body, where you are fully in the moment. And while you are in the moment, you have the conscious awareness that this is everything. You are not thinking about the future. You are not mourning about the past. You are not toiling of being in the eternal. Okay, and the thing turns red again, now green. So I don't know how much of this is coming through. We'll see. My apologies. There must be a lot of stuff going on the internet right now. Maybe I should get that FiOS everybody's talking about. Maybe that'll fix the problem. So I'm going to be rolling out the second method. The first method I'm happy to teach you, which is what we do here. When we're doing the talking, what I'm helping you to do is to understand that there is only one commandment that you must fulfill. And that is the commandment of your soul. The way you know it is the commandment of your soul is because when you think about it, and if you're lucky enough to have figured out and to do it, it gives you great joy. That's the only thing that matters. The soul is made up of joy. Its essence is joy. When you are in joy, you are in the soul. So if you're lucky enough to do that and live like that, and that doesn't necessarily mean being giggly happy all the time. It means living in the awareness of the integrity of the soul. Integrity, by the way, is all about joy. You cannot have joy and be out of your integrity, and vice versa. You cannot be out of your integrity and have joy. That's again why people who steal for, they're never fully satisfied, or people who cause harm or manipulate or lie. At some point, they realize that that thing they thought they were going to try and get for nothing by stealing or lying or whatever, it doesn't bring them joy. And that joy is your soul. When you realize that your soul is infinity, then you no longer need anything else. That's why we come here. That's why we do this. And you definitely should experience physical life if that is something that brings you joy. I love to surf. It is my joy. And everything I do in my life, like I haven't surfed for, how long has it been? It's probably been at least a week and a half. It's been a long time for me. The conditions haven't been right, and I'm getting ready to go on a trip, and I want to get some work done and all that. But still, every day, look, I go over here when I say surfing because I have a surfboard right over there. And I'm thinking about it all the time. And so that's my integrity. If I'm not doing that and focused on that, I will be out of my integrity, which means I will not be operating at my highest, and I might not be as constructive as I can be. So I'm happy to do that and help talk you through how to achieve that and to find that state of being. But I'm also happy to teach you tricks and how to cheats and energy work. Qigong.thunderwizard.com. Energy work. Celestial Qigong is a cheat. It's a cheat that will connect you directly to the power of the universe. And when you get connected to that, then you gain all kinds of power to intend your reality, to change your reality. You gain health, you gain all kinds of stuff. And it was the path that the Chinese took in order to achieve physical immortality. But they were also seeking to achieve spiritual immortality. So let me explain to you what they were seeking for. And according to some, they've achieved it. The guys that taught me talked about, this being a real thing, where you do energy practices and you change the cells of your body. Your body vibrates on a level where then all of a sudden you're not in this, manifestation anymore. You're still around, but it's like that. That if you remember that old Star Trek, the original Star Trek, there was one where they were vibrating so fast that nobody could see them. You could hear them; they sounded like bugs, but they were, time had changed for them. And there's other legends in Taoist mysticism where people go in and they do Negong, which is internal work. Qigong is physical breathing. They're actually really the same thing, Qigong and Negong. We're splitting hairs here. But Negong means internal work. Qigong means energy work. And when you get so deep into the Negong, you go into a cave. And you would have your apprentice. And your apprentice would come every day and, with a brush would sweep off the dust. And if there was any bugs, sweep the bugs away from you and make sure that your physical body was okay because you were in a state of suspended animation while you were, deep in here or traveling off there. When your body achieved that, one day the apprentice would come into the cave and all he would find would be your clothes, a pile of hair, and fingernails. The only cells that aren't alive in your body. And the rest of you would be on another level. I've talked to people who tell me that that's a real thing. And I'm going to teach you the method that I'm going to unveil here, which is the method of holding the 3 ones. I'm going to teach in 4 phases. The first phase I'm going to teach you, and by the way, the first phase is already out there, but you probably don't know how to put it together. I've already given it away for free. This is why, when people get on my case about, charging money, and they haven't even bothered to look on the free channel and do some of the meditations and energy work I have there for free. This just shows you, this is what I mean by victim mentality. It's there. It's hiding right there in plain sight. I'm not going to tell you which ones they will. In this series, I will. I'll tell you exactly which ones they are. But, it's because people, you have to want it. This is important. If you have a feeling of entitlement, if you feel that you deserve it, and that spiritual teachers should just come and give you, I can't, it's unbelievable to me. I shouldn't say it's unbelievable. I can believe it, but, I can remember a few emails and a few comments, especially about the astrology, about giving the mantra. People will put comments where they say, you should give this out for free. And then I respond, great, I'm happy to do that. If you want to pay all of my bills and give me whatever resources I need to enjoy my life, I will be more than happy to just give out free astrology readings all day long. But, the thought process that people can't get past what they want and what they think they deserve right now. If you have that, it doesn't matter in this instance, if somebody hands you the answer, you won't take it. You won't respect it. You won't even, I'll give you another example. There's a great movie, if you've ever watched it. Might not be your kind of thing, but, being who I am, I dug it. It's called Kung Fu Hustle. If you ever get a chance, watch that movie. It's called Kung Fu Hustle. It looks like fantasy on there, but, if you've trained with a true internal martial art, a lot of it isn't fantasy. A lot of that stuff you've seen or experienced, and some of it is. But there's there's a character in that movie you only see twice, and it's this old man. He looks like a homeless man, and his hair is all matted. And what he does is he walks up to a little kid. He does this twice. He walks up to a little kid, and he says, you have the bone structure of a master. You are destined to become a Kung Fu master, and you are here to fight against evil and to restore balance to the world. Basically in Chinese lore, he's saying you're Superman. And then he gives him, and then he pulls out a little pamphlet that has a guy practicing Kung Fu on it. And he says, for only $10, and the movie was placed, I think, in the 30s. So $10 in the 30s was a lot of money. It was like $100 or $1,000. I don't know what it was. A lot of money. But says, for $10, I will give it to you. And so in one instance, the hero of the story, he's a little kid. He has all of his life savings that he's carrying around, and he gives it to him, and he starts practicing this, the Buddhist palm of whatever it was. And then he tries to go defend a little girl, and he tries to fight all the bullies that are older than him, and of course they kick the crap out of him, and they find this pamphlet, and then they go, oh, look at you, a 2-cent pamphlet. Yeah, and the guy becomes so disillusioned because he spent $10 for a 2-cent, obviously just nothing in his mind. Of course, I won't ruin the movie for you, but he ends up becoming that later on. And at the end of the movie, the same thing happens. You see that he's done it, and he realizes it, and he is that guy. And then another little kid walks down the street, and he comes by, and he does the same thing, pulls out the same pamphlet. And then the kid turns away, and he says, oh, you don't like that one? Here's more. And he pulls out 4 or 5 more. And we don't see whether or not the kid took it. But the kid turning around and walking away is anybody who feels entitled. Because what you don't understand And I can really feel this coming from other places. What you don't understand if you feel entitled is that it is right in front of you. But you will never see it as long as you feel entitled. Because if you're feeling entitled, like you should give this to me, teachers should give this to me, teachers should teach for free, blah, and if you're one of those people that walks around thinking about that, you are in a place of fear because you don't believe that you are getting what you deeply desire. And so you project that onto everybody around you. So when the master who comes out of nowhere with a 2-cent pamphlet and charges you $10 for it, you're going to go $10, pff, and you're going to walk away from it. And there's something important about that. What's interesting is that it's a 2-cent pamphlet. What that means is that the knowledge of immortality is priceless. You can't put a price on it. But it has to cost you everything. If it doesn't cost you everything, you won't appreciate it, you won't see it for what it is. This is why I raised my price on the Celestial Qigong, by the way, is because, enough people have done it, and I don't have to, introduce it. It's been out there for years. And I know there's more than a few people who have been waiting around to, it's $39 and I don't know, maybe next week, and then all of a sudden now it's not $39 anymore. And you're going, I could have bought it. That is that same, but I'll tell you, the guy who spent his entire savings on that 2-cent pamphlet, he is going to practice that and practice that and practice it like his life depends on it, because he's given everything to learn it. And you know what will happen is that he will discover the secrets of it. This is Odin. Odin sacrificed himself on the tree of knowledge. He died to himself. And as a result of dying to himself, he got the runes, the mysteries of the universe. So I'm trying to get to the mindset of, if you, number one, trust that the universe will provide you your ultimate fantasy, your ultimate pleasure, and if your pleasure is to become an immortal, you may be destined to become the most powerful spiritual being in the universe. That may be your destiny. But if you're operating from fear or from lack or from a feeling of, that you deserve it, you'll miss it. And appreciating the infinity that you live in at every moment, you can appreciate that while you're sobbing your eyes out. You can appreciate that while you're feeling angry, while you're feeling scared, while you're feeling whatever horrible feelings you have. You can still be appreciating the infinity of the universe. Because it all comes down to this. I'll tell you something else. Let's see if I can remember. And I'll just tell it to you in my own words. The idea that if I practice Qigong long enough, I'll experience enough energy and I'll merge with the universe, that's an illusion. And you only know this until you've spent your whole life doing it. You don't know that yet because maybe you haven't spent your whole life doing energy work or meditation or whatever it is that connects you to the infinite. But once you get there, you go, this was with me the whole time. All I had to do was just get into this mind frame, this state of being. And then when you get there, that's when it happens. I could go on and on and on and on. I'm going to take a short break. So before I do anything, let me just welcome any of the new people who are new to this channel. This is a Q&A. It is not a discussion, meaning I don't want you to come and spout your opinion or agree with me or disagree with me. That's not what we're here to do. I'm here to answer your question. So if you want to ask me a correct question, write the word question and follow it with a well thought out, well written question that makes sense, and I'll do my best to answer it. and we'll take it from there. So I'll be right back. I'll take a short break, and then we'll see what questions y'all have. All right, let's take a look at some questions here. So again, I'm happy that new people are showing up. I can tell if you're new because you start spouting your thoughts and your opinions and blah, 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 and that's how I know you're new. But you don't know any better because this is a discussion, but it's a Q&A. So I will only address people who have questions, and if people become obnoxious, I will mute them. All right, so what happened? There was a question. Where did it go? First question, let me see if I can find it. Kingslayer 44 question, how does masturbation affect chi flow? Serious question, please don't get mad. All right, I won't get mad. But again, my job is to help you. That question doesn't help you. The only thing you need to be worried about is, do you have a dysfunction? Do you need to go to Sex Anonymous? Are you masturbating 10 times a day? That's a problem. We don't ask these kinds of questions like, well, how does taking a dump affect your chi flow? How does urinating affect your chi flow? These are just normal human bodily functions, okay? So I don't know where you're getting your information. I don't know if somebody is telling you, that masturbation will, that will take your energy away, it'll drain you of energy. And I know because I was told the same nonsense, for a long time. And then people do all kinds of other weird stuff I won't get into. Look, just be a human being. How does it affect your chi flow? Everything affects your chi flow. Sorry, am I getting mad? Everything affects your chi flow. You want to do things where you release your energy. You want to do things where you conserve your energy. So if you type that into Google, I can guarantee you that 99% of what comes up is nonsense. You're talking to somebody who has, been celibate and then been, normal in all those ways. And I can tell you that if you have Qigong.thunderwizard.com, if you want to not worry about it, go to Qigong.thunderwizard.com, practice celestial Qigong for an hour every day, and then do whatever the hell you want. You will be more than fine. So if you're asking that question, I assume it's because you want your chi flow to be best, and you're worried that if you masturbate, you will ruin your chi flow, and I'm telling you, you won't. So don't worry about it, please. I get mad because I want to help. It's one of the ways I'm frustrated and I'm trying to help, is when I get angry, or if I come across as angry. I'm working on it. But seriously, my friend, just be a human being. I know of a guy who was extremely powerful. I don't know if he is anymore. I assume he's still alive. I knew him. I not only knew him, I trained with him a little bit. We shared some knowledge. And he was a very powerful man. And he became sick with cancer. And to my knowledge, I think he's healthy now, and I hope that continues to be the case. So if you're wanting to know about chi flow because you think if you have chi, blah, 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 people with a lot of chi can still get very sick. It's all up here, man. And I'm telling you, just be a human being. If you get a teacher, like a live teacher that works with you one-on-one, not a book or not somebody on the internet, or not somebody in some internet forum, or some guy on YouTube. But if you get an actual teacher who will teach you something, and that person has real power and says, here's a technique that you can use to be celibate in order to get then do what he or she says. But only because that there's a goal in mind. And understand that at some point you'll have to become human again. Probably. If you want to be celibate, practice. Here's one. Well, no, I'm getting the feeling not to share that. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that question. Mad Sweeney's Beard question. Do you think your spell of the 9 knots can be used for soul retrieval? Soul retrieval is a general topic. So again, I would want to know, why are you asking that question? And I'm really going to try and find out what it is you really want to accomplish. So without having the ability to actually ask you back and forth questions to find out what you want to accomplish, let me just say that soul retrieval is another way of talking about being in your own integrity, being connected to your soul desire. I would focus on that. I have nothing against soul retrieval, but soul retrieval assumes that your soul is fractured and that a part of your soul is lost somewhere. Well, that is inside of you. That's where your soul is lost. It's lost somewhere inside of you. It's lost somewhere inside of you because of trauma, or because of fear, or because of many of the other things we talk about, which are all ways that you deny yourself following your greatest joy. So if you have to go do soul retrieval to get your soul back so you can follow your joy, go for it. But I don't know why you're asking the question. Can it? Yes, it can, if you're doing the spell of the 9 knots, in my belief, to find out or to get your deepest soul desire. You know that you're in need of soul retrieval if you don't know what your deepest desire is. That means you have denied to yourself what your deepest desire is, and that part of you is now locked away somewhere in your unconscious. So do the work to find out what it is you truly want, your deepest desire, and go after it. Go after it, and you'll face all this stuff, and your soul will be retrieved, and you can do it through the spell of the 9 knots. In case anybody doesn't know what that means, that is a DVD of mine, which you can get if you either go to Amazon and type in spell of the 9 knots, Anglo-Saxon sorcery, or you can go to, I believe it is videos.michaelwilliamdenny.com. I believe if you go there, let me see, do I have it up here? I've probably done this every time. No, I don't have it up here. I believe that's it. It's either videos.michaelwilliamdenny.com or videos.thunderwizard.com, and you can find Spell of the Nine Knots there. It is a very, extremely powerful practice, and I highly recommend it. All right, let's see, where else are we? Donna Marie B333 question. I've just committed to the rune certification. Congratulations. What happens now? Well, if you did it today, I haven't seen that in my email. So what happens now is that when I find your email, I will respond with a link. And you just click on the link and it'll take you to a website which will have all of the teachings that you just paid for on it. Let me see. Does it come up here? Let's try that. It's not coming up there. Let's see. Does it come up here? Yep, there it is. Yep, I see you. I'll do that today. Next time I go on a break, while I'm on break, I will send you the link. Okay? So that's what happens now. Let me see. Let's go back to where were we? All right. Jared Rosier. Okay, there's no question there. Yeah, there's no question. So Jared, please limit your comments to a question. I know you've got valuable things to say, but see, I just took time away from somebody else's question to perhaps read that when I could have been helping somebody who had a question. Okay. Shaman EMME 333, I see you're trying to write a question. Please actually write a question. I don't know how T better understand entity posepian. I don't know what that is. If you have a question, please put the time and effort to actually write a question. Make a subject, an object, put the time into it. And I'll do my best to answer it if I can. Maximon, question. Okay, that's your opinion on the coming age of Aquarius. Will it help us all ascend? Maximon, are you new to the channel? If you are, welcome. Maybe you're not. I've accused other people of being new to the channel. I just found out, and I've eviscerated some of my oldest students. Anyway, that's my thing. That's the fun of being my student. My opinion on the coming age of Aquarius is that I've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. So we talked about the Kali Yuga. If you've been watching me from the beginning today, I talked about Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, it was the period of time. We're not in Kali Yuga right now, in case people think that we are. We're not. We're still in the effects of it, so it still feels like it, but we're not anymore. We're in Dvapara Yuga. We've passed from Kali Yuga to Dvapara Yuga. Kali Yuga was in the midst of the age of Pisces. There's a reason why the age of the fish was the age of Christianity. There's a reason why Christianity's symbol was the fish, because that's the universe saying you are in the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces was about those who had and those who didn't. And the elites versus the masses is what the age of Pisces was all about. The age of Aquarius is the water bearer who's bringing water. This is the water. Now, water goes everywhere. When you pour water, water finds all the nooks and crevices and crannies, and you can't keep water out. Try it. You can't do it. Take anything that you think that's waterproof and put it in water. Eventually, water will find its way in. It may take a while, but it will get in there. And this represents the masses getting the wealth of the elite. This is the time that the elite will cease to exist as we know it. We're in the midst of it. Watch it happen. I've been saying, I'm not promoting this one way or the other. I don't care. I don't have an agenda about it. But I've been saying to people jokingly, so when do you think the United States will break off into 4 separate countries? Republic of California, When do you think that's going to happen? We're heading towards that. It's going to happen eventually. All empires fall. The United States has only been around, as its own country for 200 years or so. It's been or was founded as a colony 400 years ago. So, everything, even ancient Egypt. So the age of Aquarius is wiping out of that, and the water level rising to meet its level, which means all of the masses get to experience equality. Now, the age of Aquarius is a unique age because it is the age of the individual who is fully self-sufficient and self-empowered, who at the same time is also completely interwoven and has relationship with others. This is why bartering has become a big deal. People have been on my channel who talk about the evils of money and that we have to get rid of money and then we have to go to a bartering system. And instead of me giving you notes, now I didn't do that. We just numbers. Instead of me giving you some symbol of value in exchange for something of value, you give service to service. Or you want me to build you a porch. Well, then I will take your whatever. I'll take your goat. There's an equal exchange of you're bartering. Money is bartering. It's the same thing. But I understand why people want to get all wrapped up in that. It's an exchange of energy. But it represents getting out of the institutionalized society that we have and going back to people being self-sufficient who cooperate with other people. And so we're in a community, but we're also our own person. This is the age of Aquarius. And will it all help us ascend? Well, of course it will help us ascend because we are no longer in Kali Yuga. So I'm mixing up different things. I'm mixing up, Western astrology and Vedic stuff. But we're now in Dvapara Yuga. So here you have, on this end, let me see, I have to be able to see myself to know that I'm doing this right. So here you have the cosmic center. This is, call it God, if you will. And at one point, we were here. This is Earth, and we were right here next to it. We didn't have to speak. We didn't have to do anything. Everything was, we were barely physical. We could just, everything was pure intention. And then the Earth moved further and further and further and further away. And here it is at the farthest point away, and this is Kali Yuga. And then it starts to return back, and now we're in Dvapara Yuga, which is why if you go back to the time just before Kali Yuga, and just before the age of Pisces, if you go directly across, assuming this is a circle here, you go directly across, you will have our polytheist ancestors, which is why there has been this resurgence of Wicca, of Asatru, of Druidism, of people learning Vedic Hinduism. I studied African shamanism. People want Native American shamanism, where people have had, like myself, have had experiences where the ancestral gods have spoken to them. This is because we're, if this is the center, did I do this right? Here we are at the end, right? You're at the end here, but this is where your ancestors were, whatever it was, however many thousands of years ago, worshiping the gods, and then they became Christians, and then they hit Kali Yuga. Then they start coming around, and we're now reflecting. And so those energies are aspecting directly to us, and boom, we're experiencing that. This is part of what's happening in the age of Aquarius. And will we ascend? Yeah, because here is the center of the universe, and Earth is eventually going to make its way back, and it'll get back here again. So yeah, Earth will ascend. Everybody will ascend. It's just part of the process. Yes, the answer is yes. But everything has helped us ascend. Jared Rosier, question: how do you know that Vritra the Magnificent isn't deceiving you about the 9 races, and is he an immortal? So people are talking about my new series called the Naga Conspiracy. You can go to, I I believe nagaconspiracy.com. Actually, I think I haven't uploaded the latest videos, but there's also a YouTube channel called the Naga Conspiracy. Those are all mine. He's talking about that. Please go watch that. How do I know that Vritra the Magnificent isn't deceiving me? What could I say to you that will make you know that I'm certain I'm not being deceived? If I'm being deceived, that's the whole point of being deceived. You think you know something and somebody's deceived you into believing a falsehood. If I am consciously believing a falsehood, what difference does it make what I say to you? I absolutely know. Of course he's not deceiving me. Well, if he's deceiving me and he's doing a successful job, how am I going to know? What it tells me is that you're afraid of being deceived, which means you don't trust the universe. And this is, since we're talking about immortality, there is one thing. It's all about being in a state of trust of the universe. When you are in a state of trust, the universe, all infinity flows through you. This is why I say that all disease is some manifestation of a lack of trust. This is why I go so hard against people with victim mentalities. Because whenever you have a mentality, when this person is doing that and these people are doing this and there's a conspiracy here and a conspiracy there, if you believe that there is a conspiracy, you're going to be right. Everybody has a conspiracy. Every time I point up here to something, I am conspiring to sell you a product so that I'll have money so that I can go surfing. It's a conspiracy. There's all kinds of conspiracies out there. So again, what could I possibly say to you that will make you feel comfortable about listening to what is being said in there? I don't think there's anything that I could say if I were truly being deceived. As you can see, I don't honestly care whether, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I could care less if you believe it or not. If you think I'm being deceived, I'm okay with that. I won't lose any sleep tonight because you have that belief. I'm also not trying to convince you of anything. I don't need to convince you of anything. Here's the thing about spiritual truth. Here's the thing about mythology, which is, this is connected. The Naga Conspiracy is my own channeled mythology. I'm channeling a mythological teaching. And all mythology is coming from some other place. Now, it's up to you to decide whether or not I'm actually channeling something of value. You make that decision. It's not up to me to decide. But the real question is, does it speak to you? Now, it's okay with me if it scares you, especially if you have some Christianized fear that the devil and the serpent and, all that, and archons and evil aliens and the Saturn Moon Matrix and David Icke and whoever else. It's okay with me if what I'm teaching scares you or violates some of those and puts you in a state of fear. I'm okay with that, because now you have an opportunity to let go of that fear if you so choose, if you feel that the teaching is speaking to you. Now, I remember when I was a Christian, and I had a lot of powerful experiences as a Christian too, so, it was easy. It was hard for me to let go of that. But I remember as a Christian, I believed, because this is what I was taught, because this is what the Bible says, that any spirit or any spiritual experience that does not confess Jesus Christ as Lord is of the devil. Now, if that's true, then you've got a very simple plan to, anything that says Jesus Christ is Lord, then it's the truth. You can follow that. And if somebody is saying that Jesus Christ is not the eternal Lord, the Trinity who died for your sins and all that, then you go, oh, that's the devil. If you want to believe that, go ahead. But to me, that sounds like a very convenient way of controlling people. I am here to tell you this and to tell you that, which is what I'm not doing. Do you hear me doing this? I'm not doing this. I am here to teach you this and to teach you that, and this is the truth. And anybody who says other than what I'm telling you is deceiving you. Do not listen to them. They are evil. That is a very convenient way to control people. So when somebody like me comes along and I just eviscerated some guy on the comments section because I have no tolerance for Christians who come with that. They spout this nonsense and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Anyway, I eviscerated this guy. But I will be the first one to stand up and say Jesus is not Lord. Jesus is not the Savior. I reject Jesus and Christianity. Jesus never existed. This is all blasphemy for the Christian religion. So if you're a Christian, you have your perfect excuse not to listen to anything I say. And you can say that I'm being deceived, and it won't matter if I bring you the facts or anything else. Sorry, I don't know why my nose is itching so much. I have, there's nothing I can say or do that's going to get you out of that because you've got this ironclad, really convenient way to see the universe. But as you can see, I'm not doing that. I don't care if you believe me or don't believe me. It's fine with me. You'll still evolve and become an ascended master at some point. Anyway, I got kind of lost in that question. So how do I know? I guess I don't know. I don't believe that I am. Is he an immortal? No, he's a naga. An immortal is something else. An immortal is a human that has become immortal. He is a naga. He is a supernatural entity. He is a deity. And here's the thing. All of the gods live within you. So Vritra lives within you. He's a part of you. All right. Let's see here. Christina Escobedo. Question. Can doing Qigong help one to develop our natural abilities such as clairvoyance so we can see the energy we feel? Yes. Especially this one up here, Celestial Qigong. Lots of times people will ask me, what will Celestial Qigong do for me? I want to know exactly what gift what powers am I going to get? It's such a typical Western thing. I want to know exactly what, and I go, I have no idea. Because it is a power that will go in and release whatever your karmic truth is, whatever your karmic ability is. If you have if yours is to be clairvoyant and to see people's energy, that's because that is a karmic gift. Notice I'm using the word karmic. I'll explain that in a second. When you do Celestial Qigong, it will go into all of your cells, it'll go out into your aura, and it will release what are called samskaras, which are things that are, like things that are trapped in your aura, like bubbles, and release them. And then all of a sudden you will have a gift. And that gift will be used to serve others for the rest of your life. Now here's the thing, you don't get to take credit for it. I've used this example, and I'll use it again. You can apply it to clairvoyance. Let's say somebody has a gift of healing, and people come to them and they heal thousands of people just with their gaze or with their hands or whatever. And we say, oh, they're a saint. They've achieved immortality. Nope. Means that person in a previous life or previous lives caused physical damage to other people, or maybe spiritual damage, emotional, psychological damage to other people. And, because the universe is kind, the universe doesn't always take your head and, like we do to dogs, shove it in the crap. Here, smell that. It'll say, okay, well, let's give this person a pleasurable way. Let's first let them forget so they won't feel guilty. Let's let them forget all the people that they've harmed in previous lives and how they did it. That's not helpful. Guilt doesn't accomplish anything. And let's give them this ability to heal. Then let's gather and bring into their lives all of the people that they have caused harm to in previous lives because they were mistakenly trying to fulfill their desires. And that's what happens when we make mistakes. Trying to fulfill our desires, we go out of alignment and we make mistakes. We cause harm to ourselves and to others, but it's okay. We can make up for it. And they're balancing out the energetic imbalance on the subtle level, and they experience that as a healing. And the healer gets to feel good about what they're doing. If you're clairvoyant and you have the ability to see auras, there will be some other karmic thing associated with that. Maybe in a previous lifetime you were superficial and you didn't see people's essence. And now you have this wonderful ability to see into people's essence and go, wow, that person looks like this, but I can see in your aura that you are blah, 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 blah. And then you can help that person. So Qigong definitely will, because Qigong is just energy. And whenever you completely energize the body, everything becomes activated. Other things happen with celestial Qigong, but that's the answer to your question. Christina Escobedo question, do you think there is any significance to being an Aquarius in the Aquarian age? Well, of course. I'd have to look at your chart to see, but sure, why not? Any wisdom I can shed on that, I'd have to look at. Everybody's chart is different. So I'm sure there is. If you want, go and look up Aquarius Ascendant and Vedic astrology. And first off, I don't know if you're talking about Vedic astrology or Western astrology. So Vedic astrology, astrology.thunderwizard.com. Vedic astrology, it deals first and foremost with the ascendant. So is your ascendant in Vedic astrology, not Western, is your ascendant Aquarius? That's something. The sun sign, which is what Western astrology uses, is a distant third in importance to who you are. And your ascendant is your karma and how you need to relate to your life. So my sun sign in both Vedic and Western is Virgo. That's my sun sign. That's my soul experience. I mean, you see me as a Leo, and you also see me as my Aruda, which is Mars in Libra in the third house. That's why I'm such a, I can be so aggressive in my communication. That's why I'm so impatient. That's why people should not bunch more than one question together, because when I read the first question, I don't have the patience to read all of it. That's why just give me one well thought out question, and then I don't embarrass myself and I don't end up attacking you. Anyway, that's not your problem. So you can check that out if you want. I don't feel motivated to go down that road right now. But anyway, let's move on. Thank you for the question, Christina. Moving on. Mad Sweeney's Beer question. Do you do follow-up consultations after the Vedic astro reading that include chart aspects and conjunctions? Well, yeah, I especially like conjunctions, but yeah, I do follow-ups. I'm hesitating because I'm not your average astrologer. Your average astrologer will want to do that. I don't. Because in my first reading, I tell you what I found to be most important for me. Now that may change the more that I learn, because I'm still learning. Anybody, no matter how much of an astrologer they are, if they aren't upfront in saying that there's so much that they don't know and they're still a student, run away from that astrologer. I mean what I say. I really know. I mean, there are some of you out there that are my students that know more than I do. I focus on what's important to me. That's my narcissism. But when I'm looking at somebody's chart, and I'm, especially follow-up charts, if they have a question I can answer or that I want to answer, I will. But what I like to do is I want to sit with the chart and let it speak to me. And I want to learn, because I learn by looking at everybody's chart. And it's something that happens that connects me to your guides and my guides, and then something happens, and that's how I learn. But it's also, I find things in it that you won't find if I go through the formula of aspects and this and that, because when this aspect means this, and not that I don't do that, because I do. But, you can ask me whatever question that you want, and you be prepared that I may not know the answer to it, or I may not feel confident in saying, I could talk about that, but but something else will come out of your chart for me. So if you want to have another reading, I highly recommend it. Conjunctions I love talking about. So if you want me to take a look at conjunctions, absolutely. I would be more than happy to talk about that for ages. I love conjunctions. Okay, Shaman EMME number 333. Very long question. Again, I have Mars in the third house. I am impatient. The shorter your question, I know how honest it is, and I'm better prepared. The longer it is, the more intellectual it is, which means I have to try and figure out what it is you're really asking me. And then I tend to be aggressive and psychoanalyze you and all that kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens here. Question. I enter a NDE through prana breathing and the black abyss. I felt so safe. How does the prana breathe cause NDE or something else to better experience in physical space being safe zone? So again, it sounds like English is not your first language. I could be wrong. I'm having a hard time really grasping what you're asking. You have some assumptions in there which I don't know are true. The first one is you said you entered a near-death experience. I don't know that. You may have had an experience. You may have had a shamanic experience. You may have had an out-of-body experience. I don't know that that's a near-death experience. Were you did you come back and did you have to be brought back to life? Were you dead? Did your heart stop beating? So I questioned that. You give us this experience, and what you really want to ask finally is you say, does prana breathing cause NDE? First off, prana breathing. Prana, again, you're throwing out a bunch of words that I'm not convinced you know what they mean. I could be wrong. But if you're saying that you're doing like deep breathing or rapid breathing or something like that, and you're doing an actual technique, could that cause you to have a vision? Sure. How to better experience in physical space being safe zoned? I don't know what that means. So I think you're new to my channel. Please keep watching, and I urge you to watch my videos so you know what I teach. What you did is you came in here and you said, here's what I did. Look at me. I did this and I did this. I can tell you haven't, at least from here, it doesn't look like you've really followed my practices. I'm going to be far more inspired to answer a question of a practice of mine that you've done because I know about it. I don't know what practice you're doing, so I don't have any experience with it. So I can't answer your question, at least the way you want me to. But congratulations, it sounds like that was a lot of fun. Mad Sweeney's Bear question, do invasive or angry thoughts cause a negative karmic debt? No, I think you've asked me this before in some other way, so let me be clear again. Thoughts do not cause karma. Feelings do not cause karma. Your actions based on them create karma. Actions include beliefs and assumptions. If something doesn't go the way somebody wants, and then they decide, they make the assumption, they choose to believe that the universe is cruel because they didn't get what they wanted, that is an action, which will create a karma that they will have to live through. So let me just state once again, you can have any feeling in the world. You can feel murderously rageful. You can want to kill somebody. As long as you don't kill them, you haven't caused yourself any karma. And in fact, when those negative feelings come up and you feel motivated to take an action or to create a belief that is destructive, you have the opportunity to change lifetimes of cyclical karma by stopping it and doing something completely different. Just taking different. Let me just give you an example. Somebody's girlfriend breaks up with them, and it devastates them. One way that person can avoid taking action on all of the pain and the sadness and maybe the revenge and the cynicism and whatever else might be going through them is to every day go out and give a flower, go to an old folks home and give all the women a rose. Now inside you could be dying inside and be thinking about how she did this to you and she cheated on you and all that good stuff. But the contrary action while you're feeling it will, number one, heal that within you because you'll still have all those feelings. And you can also take it a step further. Imagine that all those old ladies that you're giving roses to are the woman that you love and you are forgiving her. That will completely change everything, and then you will have changed lifetimes of cyclical karma. Because what most of us do is the girlfriend breaks up with us or cheats on us, we go into a state of depression and rage, and then we do something, we take it out on other women. Or, if you're a woman, take it out on other men. Or whatever gender you prefer. Right? I felt that way. I felt that way when my fiance died. I was emotionally incapable of a relationship. I couldn't do it. But I fantasized a lot about having, an F buddy that I didn't have to do anything for, or be there for emotionally. That would have been a way for me to have, and I was never I never accomplished that. So thankfully, I'm looking back on it and I'm grateful I didn't play that out. But that would have been a way for me to act on those negative feelings in a way that would have kept me in a cycle of karmic debt, which I would have had to pay off in this lifetime or another. So short answer, you've asked me this before, don't worry about your thoughts or your feelings, worry about your actions. Face your feelings and work through them. This is what I do. This is one of the things that I do when people become an apprentice. ThunderWizard.com. Go to ThunderWizard.com if you want to become an apprentice. You can go there and you can learn real shamanism from the ground up, from the very beginning, the basics of shamanism, all the way through to mastery of shamanic ritual, runes, energy work, and then just me babbling on about all kinds of different things. And if you want to, and if it's available, you can become an apprentice and work with me on a weekly or a monthly basis. And it's also one of the best ways to support this work because when you subscribe, even at the $25 level, and get tons of free, in-depth videos on how to become a master shaman, not only that, but you end up, every month supporting me so I can do this. This is my job. I want my job to be to communicate with you and to teach you through the means of videos and other things as often as I can. That's one of the best ways to do it, and it's quite frankly the best value because you get so much for so little. All right, let's keep going. Again, Shabad Sadhana, you have to ask a question. That's not a question, that's a statement. Kingslayer, question, can you effectively use mantras and or meditation exercises when you are dreaming? Sure. In fact, that's a technique. There's one technique which is, let's say you pick the mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. Let's say you pick that mantra. You can make a discipline out of chanting it 24 hours a day. That means when you're by yourself, you're chanting Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Now, I don't know if other people are like this. I think it's because I have Ketu in the 5th house, which means at some point I was a master musician. But at every single moment in my life, there is always a song in my head. There is never, and I've tried so hard to have moments where I don't have a song in my head. It's never happened. As I'm falling asleep, there is a song in my head. When I wake up, there will be a new song. Because when I go to sleep, it's interesting. It's kind of fun. When I wake up, there will be a song I haven't heard in 30 years. Sometimes it's a jingle from a commercial, like the Doublemint commercial from 1970s. Remember that one? And people on the skis. So I can do that because and once I get it in there, I can't get rid of it, especially if I make a song out of it. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Nama Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Nama Om. If I sing that to myself long enough, that will take over whatever background song is in there from the last time I was watching television or driving in my car or whatever. And that'll become the song, and then I don't have to keep it. It'll just in my head all the time. And then as you sleep. Now, if I put effort into it, I will be doing it in my dreams. I'll be walking around in my dreams going, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namah Om. I'll wake up in the middle of the night, Om Namah Shivaya. So that's a technique. It's a very powerful one. And there you go. It's there for you to use if you'd like to do that. And you can make a discipline of it and say, for 10 days, I'm going to chant Om Namah Shivaya. So that means that when you're in public and talking to people, it's going on in the back of your mind. When you're, around other people, like on the bus, and you can't do it out loud, you're doing it under your breath. That is a very powerful method. So there you go. It's yours to use if you want. So Shabbat Sadhana, maybe you just came on. Here's what I need you to do. If you're going to write a question, I want you to write the word question. So I know you're asking me a question. And then write a short, well-crafted question for me. Bear in mind that especially with new people, if they ask questions that I don't think are helpful to you, I'm going to answer it in ways you may not like. I may very well do or say something that might be embarrassing to you. Because, anyway, and I say that because you've been on the channel and you've left a bunch of different comments. And you've asked me to help you with this. I give you some help on that, and then you go back and you say some other crazy things, and it's almost like you want to argue with me. So I already know that you're kind of sketchy. And the one thing I want you to say is stop with the drama. It's not helping you. Stop. I don't know you well enough to know what has caused you to be in this state where you're in this constant state of drama, where you're constantly looking for all kinds of craziness. And maybe it's real for you. I'm not going to say it's not. But I am here to tell you, you have permission from me to stop with the drama. You don't have to always be in a state of panic. You don't have to always be creating drama for yourself. I'm giving you permission. I'm talking at you forcefully with power. You don't have to do it. You can decide right now to stop. Now I'll read your question. Someone was murdered and I stay in that house and so many paranormal activity happens, or is it just my assumption? I don't know. Who cares? Whether are you creating it, or is there really a spirit there causing paranormal activity? Who cares? It's real to you, so what difference does it make? What I can tell you is that even if it is the spirit of somebody who was murdered in that house, you were attracted to living there, even if you were brought there. You brought that into your reality because that craziness that you're feeling, the paranormal activity that you're feeling is reflecting how you always feel inside yourself. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you leave that place, if you don't fix the chaos inside of you, and if you don't stop indulging in being panicked and afraid and creating chaos all the time, wherever you go, you will manifest it again. I know because I've experienced it. I've experienced what you're going through on some level, maybe not exactly. So my suggestion for you is watch my videos, do the practices, do the free meditations that are on there. Okay? Do the free meditations. Stop asking me nonsense questions all over my channel and stop posting all of the drama that's going on, and just do the things that I give you for free to do. And if you do that and you're disciplined about it, that will go away. And then you'll have better questions to ask me and I can help you. Okay? I hope I didn't offend you or hurt your feelings, but that's just the way, that's just how I roll, man. All right, Shaman EMME number 333. I don't know what that's all about. Question: how to pick the right teacher? Again, ask one question at a time because I lose patience. I want to answer the first question before I get to the second one. How to pick the right teacher? Pick somebody who tells you the truth and that you feel it. I mean, how do you not trust your own instincts? When somebody teaches you something or tells you something or gives you something, how do you not know that, oh, I like that? That's how you pick. You just follow your instincts. Trust. Everybody has their teacher. Everybody in the universe has their teacher. And the way you know you found your teacher is when they say something to you, whether it's harsh or whether it's pleasant, it hits you in a way where you know that that's truth. And then follow that teacher, whoever they are. And then you say, based on one's Vedic astrology, be interesting to know more on Vedic on my end of spiritual. Okay, so Vedic astrology may or may not, I'm sure there's a method to find out who your teacher is. There's so much, that isn't necessarily a skill that I have, but it's not necessary. You don't need that. I'm sure it's in there. And if you want to learn about Vedic astrology, you can go to astrologycertification.thunderwizard.com. And then you can be certified in the Vedic astrology that I teach. If you want to actually look at your Vedic astrology, you can go to astrology.thunderwizard.com and get a reading from me or one of my apprentices, and you will learn more about Vedic astrology that way as well. Kingslayer, question: can a person heal somebody of an illness or trauma? Well, there's one question. Yes, somebody can do that. That is possible. Or is it only possible to help somebody heal themselves? Yes to both questions. What does a doctor do? Does a doctor heal disease? No. A doctor will create the circumstances where the body can heal itself. If you've got a really nasty bacterial infection and the body can't fight off the bacteria, then the doctor will give you penicillin or whatever, which will fight against the bacteria. Now, it won't, it will kill the bacteria, but it won't stop infection or stop death, but it will create an environment where the body can get it and then heal itself. And then, of course, you got to heal from the antibiotic because it's technically a poison. But so yes to both questions. Somebody can heal somebody else, but what they're doing is they are providing a scenario where the person heals themselves. Healing is always self-generated as well as destruction. Destruction is always self-generated. Carlos Castaneda used to talk about, giving people your power. And he had, I forget how he had a very special way of talking about it. But he would talk about, the difference between, hating a person and an animal. And he says, you shouldn't treat human beings any different than animals. If there's a human being that has done harm to you, it's a waste of time. And I'm not saying I could do this just to be, I'm a human being like you, but this is the ideal here. It's a waste of time to hate that person or to resent them, because at that moment they were just an animal. If you're walking in the forest and a grizzly bear who's trying to protect its young chases after you and knocks you down, it's a waste of time to hate the grizzly bear. It's just an animal. It wasn't personal. It's just what they do. Unconscious people cause damage. It's just what they do. And if you just see them as that, and then you don't give away all your energy doing that. Now again, having said that, if you have resentment and anger, I will be the first one to say you have to feel it and work through it. But eventually, the great thing about working through resentments and learning how you invested and or helped create the scenario that brought about whatever caused your resentment, then you no longer take it personally. After a while, you don't take it personally when people do stuff. You go, wow, that guy, even if it's somebody that betrays you, you learn forgiveness is not the Christian forgiveness of being a victim and lying down and just being. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is realizing, number one, that it's not personal, and that that person, that person is the one that's really in the deepest pain. They're harming you because they're angry at themselves. Every time that we cause harm to others, it's because we're angry at ourselves. Always. Always. Okay? Is it ultimately up to the sick person to heal themselves? Of course. That doesn't mean that you aren't there as a doctor or a healer or a friend. The best thing a friend can do is reflect back. Friendship is great. True friendship is really wonderful because, like in a romantic relationship, you have an agenda. You're in love with that person. And even if it's true love, you need them. You want them in your life, you need them. You have an agenda. And if your lover says, I'm going to leave for a year, you will be devastated. You may, if you're a conscious person, you may say, if that's what's best for you, I support you and I love you and I'm right behind you, and then you will go in the closet and you will cry your eyes out. Most of the time, most people will get upset and try and talk you out of it and might guilt you out of it, whatever it is. But your friend will say, I will miss you, but I will drive you to the airport. Man, send me photos. I want to see where you're going. Show it to me. I'm so excited. A true friend is like that. And some of the best healing, that's why friends go and visit people in hospitals. Just sitting there and talking or holding their hand. I remember when my father died, this was 20 years ago, and I was doing a show. I was doing a film. I was acting in a film. So that was a tough scenario. I was coming apart because my dad was in the hospital. He wasn't in the hospital. He was at home dying. He was in hospice care and he was dying, and I could feel him dying. He was going to die anymore, and he did. He died while I was doing that film. And I would just be sitting there and I would burst into tears, sobbing. Not because I was sad. My body was just going through this. If you've ever, you know what I'm talking about. It's like you can be thinking about the weather and then your body just convulses into tears. And everybody was coming around trying to fix me, make me feel better. And I didn't like that because they're uncomfortable. They don't want to see you in pain. It makes them uncomfortable and they want to snap you out of it. Like I said earlier, look over there, look at that. It's okay. And I had a friend and she sat down next to me and she just held my hand. That's it. And we both sat there. She just sat there while I cried, didn't say a word. And I brought it up to her and I told her and I said how much I appreciated that. She said, you don't remember, do you? And I said, what? She said, you did that for me. 10 years earlier when we were in college together, we happened to have been, in college together. She said, you did that for me. My brother died and everybody tried to fix me and you would just sit next to me. And you would say, there's nothing I can say, but I'm here. And you helped me more than anybody else. So if you want to heal people, be a friend. A friend, a true friend, has no agenda. They just want what's best for you. They love being around you, but they don't need you. You can take off for 2 weeks or a month or a year, and they will be happy for you, and they will greet you with the same love when you come back. When my fiance was sick, she went off to Germany for 6 months or 8 months, and I died inside. She came back, I was dead inside, and I had to wake myself up and, that I had an agenda. And I'm a pretty good guy in a relationship, but I had an agenda. Friends, there's nothing like them in the world. True friend. I mean, there is no higher calling than to be a friend. Anyway, I don't know what got me on that. Shabad Sadhana, question. When I did so if you write question in all caps, I'll see it better, because sometimes there's a lot of people spouting stuff and I scroll and I miss questions. So put questions in, just the word question in all caps, because I want to see your question. So again, a very long question. I prefer them to be a sentence long. The longer they are, the less likely I'm gonna like the question. When I did your eye gazing healing, I felt an immense experience as I was chosen for it. Could that prove who my teacher is, because my gut says you are my teacher? Thanks. So that's not a question, that's a statement. And in your statement, you are saying that you feel that I am your teacher. If that is so, I am happy to be here and to help you in any way that I can. So, and I hope that I can give you what you need. Christina Escobedo, question. Can someone be a healer if there is no karmic debt to settle? No. You can't do it. I'm a teacher. I teach, I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people watch me. I know I've got, we got to be in the hundreds or maybe thousands of people that follow me, that maybe see me as this gentleman did as their teacher. That is my karma. I am rebalancing my karma. I've probably been here a very long time because I'm teaching a lot of different people over the years I've been here. So I don't know I know what the karma of a healer is, probably because I've been a healer in a past life, I think. I'm not sure I know what the karma of a teacher is, but I'm balancing out some karma with all of you. If you hear me like this gentleman, he hears me and he feels that I am his teacher. There's something in a past life, there's some karma I need to balance. And the way that I balance that is by teaching. If we are lucky enough to have a close relationship where you pay me for my time, that is a very special relationship. That's the most intimate relationship there is. Because once again, I even have less agenda than a friend. Because when you pay me for my time, because that's what you're paying for, you're not paying for anything else. You're not paying for the teaching. You're paying for my time, then I have no agenda. You have paid for my time. In that time that we're together, I have no desires, I have no needs. I am only here for you, and I'm only thinking about how I can best help you. When you give, and you're not giving, I mean, you're technically giving to me because it goes into my hands and I spend it, on surfboards or something. It goes into my hands, but what you're paying for is for the guides, whoever they are, to work through me to give you what you need. That's the highest relationship there is, the most intimate. Because I don't care if you show up tomorrow. I mean, that's some of my, I like a lot of my apprentices a lot. I really enjoy talking to them. But if they call me up and okay. I don't have an agenda on them, except how can I best help you? So that's obviously some karma there. So it makes me want to ask why you have that question. Whatever gift you have, are you a healer? It's okay. If you have karma in a past life, so what? This is, how great the universe is. You don't have to know what that is. If you're meant to, you'll become aware of what you did in a past life that's affecting you now. But this is why we wipe the slate clean, because if you remembered all of your mistakes that you feel guilty over, you wouldn't be able to function. So, people come to me and I teach them, who knows what I did to them in a past life? I don't know. But I'm glad I don't know, because I'm not going off of trying to, work through some guilt that I have, which is just self-centered, self-directed anger. That's all guilt is. Hey, how can I best help you? So there's nothing wrong with karma. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's very helpful. Shaman, question. What would your call when one experienced has entered a bloodstream in altered state? Is it showing me a direction to go with my shamanism? I don't understand your question. So, shaman, my friend, I don't know what practices that you're doing. I I have respect for every practice out there. It sounds like you've got some kind of shamanic visionary practice that you do based on what you've said. Go for it. If you want to get help from me, you need to watch my videos, perhaps read my books, find out what I teach, do the exercises that I teach, and then ask me based on that. When you ask me about something that I may or may not know anything about, because you ask me that question not even knowing if I know what that is. So it puts me in a position I might give you an answer based on a complete lack of experience. If I had more of an ego, I would want to tell you that I know the answer to that question when maybe I don't. Now, I have never experienced that. I can never remember having experienced going into a state and entering a bloodstream in a vision, which is what it sounds like your question is. And to be quite frank, I don't know what you're saying. But I've never experienced that. So how can I answer that? Ask questions based on what I teach. In order to do that, you're going to have to get out of yourself. Don't bring your experience and give it to me and try and get me to fit in your experience. The student tries to fit themselves in the experience of the teaching that they are given. I have a whole channel full of free meditations and teachings. Get yourself into that. Learn that. Do some of those things. The whole breath. If you want to start with one, start with this one. Do that. If you do that every day and come, you will have questions to ask me that I can help you with. And then you will benefit from what I'm teaching instead of pulling questions out of the air and me pulling something out of my ass, which may or may not mean anything. Okay? All right, I don't see any more questions here at the moment. Having said that, thank you for your question, and thank you, and you're welcome on my channel, and I certainly hope you will take my invitation and go benefit from many of the free meditations and teachings that I have on here. Okay? All right, so I am going to take a short break, and then I will be right back. All right, so let's talk about what I would like to say, which is the truth about spiritual immortality. Whenever you are seeking immortality, seeking liberation, seeking enlightenment, what you are seeking, and you may or may not know this, but what you are seeking is to be 100% connected to your eternal self. I was watching, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Flipping around YouTube, watching something on these people who do, what's it called? I don't even know what it's called. They put on these suits that have wings on them and they jump off cliffs. And it said, the most dangerous sport in the world. And I thought to myself, well, there are other really dangerous sports, like surfing 60-foot waves is pretty damn dangerous. I don't do that. That's pretty damn dangerous. Mountain climbing, pretty dangerous. But I agree now, it is the most dangerous sport in the world. I mean, it's literally, these people have to have there are people that do this, and they're talking about, you ask any of them who's been doing it for any length of time, and they don't know just one person that's died from it. They know a handful of people. One woman had 2 husbands that both died from doing it, and then there were friends that she knew that died from doing it. And one guy, he couldn't even count how many people he's known who've died doing it. Well, they go on jumps, and it's like it's not a question of if, it's a question of when one of you is going to be the only one that survives the jump. And the way that one guy described it, he says, when you jump, that moment when you jump, that there's just nothing. You are completely in the moment. You are so fully in the moment. There's no past, there's no present. There is just the full experience of that. And he says, that's why I do it. And he says, I couldn't live without it. If I die doing it, I die doing it, but I will never stop doing it because of that experience. What he described there is what we are all seeking. When you say that you want to be forgiven for sins and go to heaven, when you say, I want to be immortal and I want to be physically immortal and live for 1,000 years, or you say, I want to be enlightened, or I want to be a god, or whatever it is that you're saying, what you're really saying is you want to be in that space of being completely and 100% totally conscious of your existence and fully experiencing. This is what Odin is, Woden. He's somebody who is in the state of Wod, perpetual self-awareness, and he burns from within. He's seen as a furious god. But the fury is not because he's angry. It's from our perspective, he looks furious because he is so completely engulfed in the inspiration of his own infinity, and he is connected to infinity. It's fearful for us to be around that, so we call him Woden. He who is, fierce. He who is engulfed in the fire of his own self-awareness. The name for Shiva, who is the same God, you see him as he's deep in meditation, he's completely engulfed in his meditation. It's the peaceful form of him. But if you were to see his essence, you would see Ugra. Ugra is terrifying. Now, it's not terrifying to him, it's terrifying to you, because you are not there. And for you to get where he is, you would have to be torn to shreds on all of your attachments to all of your fears and all of your this and all of your that. And it's being human. I'm not judging it, we're all human. We wouldn't be in this physical body if we didn't have any of that stuff. But to get to the place where Shiva is Ugra. It's also the name for Odin. Odin's name is Ug. Comes from the same word. It means terrifying. The word ugly used to mean terrifying. that person is terrifying to look at. Now it just means somebody who's plain or not so attractive. But it used to be, plain used to mean ugly, plain, like boring to look at. But ugly, uglice, that was terrifying. A little bit of trivia there for you. So here's what we don't understand. Again, I gave you this picture here. This is what, I put this on here for a reason, because this is what people think immortality is. Speaking for myself, I can't think of, that's hell. That's not that is torment. Oh, I don't want to ever stop being. I don't ever want to stop experiencing. I want to experience life. And when you're at the full state of full experience of your own essence, that is it. Now, you can have that while you're in the body, and you can have it when you're not in the body. Anybody listening to me who wants to escape, who wants to use spirituality to escape their pain, I'm telling you that will drive you deeper into attachment. Every time somebody responds to my Exit the Matrix videos with, I hate this world, I'm never coming back, I respond with, well, unfortunately, until you can learn to love this life, you are doomed to come back. The more that you hate this life and the more you seek to escape the pain that you feel, you will dig yourself deeper into attachments, like digging deeper into the mud. The more that you can learn to experience and love life. And here's the thing, you have the power, you have the tools. You have the power. You have the tools to learn how to intend your perfect reality. And I think ultimately that's what life in the physical flesh is all about. That we're training so that we can learn how to do that, so that then when we're no longer incarnating, then we can live in the spiritual realm at full 100% capacity for infinity. So the other thing is people who think that they're going to escape this world, like people who commit suicide, learn this real quick. If you think escaping this world is going to take away your problems, you're wrong, because you will take your creation of your universe with you. Even if people were to escape the Matrix, like again, if I can escape the Matrix, it'll all be okay. I say, well, the problem is that you will take yourself with you. So even if you escape the Matrix, you will create a worse torment for yourself. You'll create a worse Matrix because you're the one that created it to begin with. So the Perfected Immortal series, which is coming up here pretty soon, it's going to be 4 phases. First phase is going to be exercises for the lower Dantian, which are already on there. Second one is going to be more advanced exercises to open up the heart center and connect the middle Dantian to the lower center. And to the lower one, you work through, first you do the energy exercises, which changes you energetically. And then we're going to do some things to change your psychological experience of physical security. We're going to work through all of your fears and attachments on that. Then we're going to do the same thing here. This is going to be the emotional part, where you work through your emotional attachments and issues. And then we do the third phase, which will be to do very powerful exercises to open up the upper centers and the glands of the brain, and to work through your misunderstandings about what higher spirituality is, to connect you to the ascended masters, and then all 3 of them will be connected. And then the fourth phase is the actual method. The method where it's just a simple meditation where connect all these things, and I won't tell you exactly what yet, but the end result is that you learn how to intend your reality, just with a thought. And this is the first step to becoming a perfected immortal, because a perfected immortal is this guy. But first you learn how to do it while you're in the body. And then it's training. It's training for your soul so that when you finish with this life, once you're out of the body, you get to go do that. Now, I can't guarantee it'll happen for you in this lifetime. In fact, according to the ancient texts, it takes a minimum of 10 years of daily practice to do it. And I just found this out, by the way. There is a book out there. There is a book out there that I have in storage somewhere in Washington State, somewhere in Seattle, when I got divorced. How long ago was that? 6 years? It's only been 6 years? I got divorced 6 years ago, and I put all my stuff in storage. I have this book, and this book is no longer in print. And it was somebody translating from the Chinese, and then you read it, and you don't really understand what you're looking at, most of it. But because I trained with guys, I knew a lot of what I was reading, and I practiced it. And this is what I found out, is that exercise was instrumental in helping me understand how to intend my reality. That book is no longer in print, and it's selling for, where is it? That book is now selling for $862. And it had to have been 20 or 30 bucks when I bought it. It's a little paperback. It was just like I told you about the movie where the guy comes to the kid and he says, you know, give me $10 for this little pamphlet and you can learn the Buddha palm and become, you know, a superhero. And the kid gives him 10 bucks, which is in the 30s was a hell of a lot of money. And he finds out later that it's only 2 cents. Same thing here. I bought that thing. It was, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks. And it was just like this book. And I kept it and I did it and things happened. And now I'm finding that that same book is out of print and you can only buy it if you have $862. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that even if you could get that book, you might not know what to do with it if you had it. You might not understand it. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But I'm going to give it to you in a way that you can understand it and you can practice it. And in fact, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process to prepare the body to be able to handle the power of it and to be able to know what to do with it. So that's coming soon. So just keep your eyes peeled. I'm just now finishing up phase 1, and there are 4 phases. So anyway, I think that's it for me at the moment. I'll check to see if there are any more questions, and then maybe we'll. Yeah, I've been on for 2 hours, so I'm getting kind of tired here. Doku 007 can celestial, and by the way, celestial Qigong is a highly recommended precursor to it. If you have celestial Qigong already, especially if you got it earlier when I had it at a different price, you can be very grateful because it's not the same price as it was. But that is it's not a prerequisite, but it is highly recommended. You can get started on that now, doing celestial Qigong. That will get you set up and ready to go. Can celestial Qigong, Doku 007 asks, can celestial Qigong be used to ward off negative spirits from yourself and others? Yes, that's one of the main purposes of doing it. It came from the Shang-Ching spirit fighting. You know, Shang-Ching spirit fighter doesn't do spells and this. He goes into the place and he, with his bare fists and hands, he fights off with his energy. He destroys negativity, drives away the evil spirits. So this is derived from that, which means that just by doing it, you will send them packing. Let's see, what else? Shabbat Sadhana question. I'm a guitarist as a profession. Is it possible to meditate with guitar? So Shabbat Sadhana, again, man, I'm just getting the feeling that you're just kind of asking questions for the sake of asking them. Of course you can. I think you're asking me questions you already know the answer to. You want me to support you with that. Of course you can. Ask me something of value. Study my material. Come to me with a question that inspires me to help you. Mind rap, whatever this is. You didn't say question, but I can tell it's a question. Isn't the Hool meditation basically the same as the middle pillar ritual? I don't know what the middle pillar ritual is. Okay, it's fine with me if it is. Maybe. You tell me. Rami, question. Greetings, teacher. Where did we go? Okay, what happened here? Rami, let's look for Rami again. Question. Greetings, teacher. How do I know if I have any karmic debt that I need to pay and should? No, you don't have to worry about it. Trust me, your karmic debt will get paid. You pay it. Every relationship you have is a karmic debt. Every act that you take, your soul desire. Here's the best way to answer your question. If you want to pay off all your karmic debts, find out what your soul desire is and go do it. When people avoid their soul desire out of fear or ignorance, nobody's really ignorant, but they feel ignorant, then you create more karmic debt. So if you want to pay off your karmic debt, live your soul desire, which is what gives you the greatest joy. You know, that's the great thing. If you want to pay off all your debt, make yourself as happy as you can fucking stand. That will pay off your karmic debt. Isn't that great? No, you should not worry about it. Christina Escobedo question. What would the karmic balance be for those practicing tarot or giving psychic readings? I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know what my karmic thing is. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Just enjoy it and do it. You don't have to understand it. There's a reason why we don't know. Just do it. You say, I ask because I have strong feelings about healing, but I haven't achieved it in this lifetime. Well, if you're meant to, you will. You know, do celestial Qigong, and you will. If that is a gift, it'll come out. Okay, let's see what else. I'm getting distracted. It's Friday night, and there are bars down there. People walk up and down, but there's somebody standing in the middle of the street, and I can tell they're just, they've been drinking. I'm this close to going out and asking them to please move on. Let's see. Shaman 333 question. What was the beginning stage for your shamanic experience that you knew was your path or calling? Why are you asking that question? I share about it in my books. Read my books. I'm hesitating because there was more than one. You can read my books and you can read about it. Are you asking because you want to know if you're a shaman? The point is, if you are called to be a shaman, you will know. Traditionally speaking, a shaman had a near-death experience, meaning they really almost physically died and were brought back to life, or they became very sick and had a hallucination or a vision or an out-of-body experience, or they were crazy. Like people thought they were absolutely nuts. That's why the word touched. In English, especially like archaic American English, so that boy's touched in the head. Touched means touched. Means that a spirit or a god touched him. When the gods touch you, you go into another realm and you look crazy to us. So sometimes shamans, really are, and some people who are fighting with their shamanic powers are crazy people. And when they accept their ability, then, they may not lose their craziness, but they can function better. And I can honestly say, without a doubt, that as a youth, I struggled with my sanity. There were times when I absolutely felt that the universe was going to come apart, and I was afraid for my sanity in a lot of my youth. So at some point you will have an experience. Now this doesn't have to happen for everybody, but you will have an experience. So if you're asking me because you want to be a shaman, congratulations, go practice shamanism. If you are called to be a shaman, it's a karmic thing, and you don't really have to worry about it. It's sort of like relationships, like if you're in love with a woman and you want to make sure that she marries you or whatever, and I tell people, I say, listen, if you guys have a karmic debt with each other, there's nothing anybody can do that will keep you apart. And if you're not meant to be together, there's nothing, not even God himself can bring you together, because that karma isn't, magnetizing you. So you will be magnetized to whatever it is you're meant to be. How's that for a question, for an answer? Kingslayer, 44 question. Is it possible to move objects with the mind? Who cares? I don't even want to answer it because who cares? How does that answer help you? Read my books. Do my practices. Ask me about that. Nowhere do I teach anybody how to move objects with their mind. So even if I knew the answer to the question, it's a waste of time to ask me that because I don't teach that. Notice that I didn't say that I haven't done it. I just said I don't teach it. Okay. All right, that's it. I don't see any more questions, so I am going to wrap it up for the evening. Do I have anything? I think I kind of sold everything here. You can see all this. Go to all of these websites here and buy every single one of them. And then go over to all these websites here and buy every single one of them. runereadings.thunderwizard.com if you want a rune reading from me where I access all 9 levels of your being. I will do that. Transformation.thunderwizard.com is I will give you 9 world rune reading, Vedic astrological reading, and a North Star astrological reading, which will show you this year what direction is influencing you the most, which will have a huge impact on your life. Astrology.thunderwizard.com, you already know that one. Okay, that's it. I'm all done for the evening. All right, so I don't see any more questions here. That's it for me, my friends. Probably I'll see you tomorrow night because it's Friday. So, all right, talk to you guys later.